Radio News 24 On Air.
Welcome everybody. I'm on Radio News 24. I'm Serena Ilari, and today I have the pleasure to host Irgen Salianji from Architects for Urbanity. Hi, Irgen.
Hi, thank you for having me here, and great to talk to you.
Thank you for being our guest. So let's talk a little bit about your company, that is Architects for Urbanity. Tell us a little bit about your story. When did you start it, and how did you started working on architects?
Yeah, so basically we are a young company based in Rotterdam since 2015, and we have a very simple story. Basically, we always liked participating in competitions, in architecture competitions.
Yeah.
So this is how we started from very early on in our career, just doing a lot of competitions and then losing a lot of them, and just keeping motivated and participating, let's say, in the discourse of architecture. But basically in 2015 we won a big competition for a library in the city of Varna in Bulgaria, capital of the Black Sea, as they call it. So basically by winning that competition in 2015 we also got the next contracts, and we worked further with the client. And so then we had to formally start an office and organize ourselves and scale up.
You had to create a company.
Exactly. So we moved from the dining table of our apartment into a proper office.
Yeah.
And
the best part of it, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we start. Although we have worked in several companies before, we have significant experience. Basically, we just built this office step by step from that moment on, and then we did the library. We got a building permit and construction drawings, and now we're waiting for the construction to start. And in the meantime, we also got involved into some other projects in.
In fact, it was the next question that I would ask you. What kind of basically the first thing that I ask to architects that I interview is what is their inspiration, if I can call it like that. Where is the thing that you try to research on all the projects that you do on your company with maybe your team also?
Yeah, I mean, as you can judge from the name of our office, we are obsessed with the notion of urbanity. So we are obsessed with the city, let's say. So our main inspiration comes from the city, and then it depends which city we are doing a project or which city we are researching. We really like working on the aspect of a program, like how we combine uses in the city, in the building, and create unexpected combinations or interesting kind of relations between what you do in the city, what you do in buildings, and how buildings are kind of connected to their context. And so basically most of our research goes onto that. And of course we're trying to understand what is the city today, right? So it's a big discussion how the city's evolved and how we can, as architects, make a mark. So how can we contribute in making our cities better?
So the environment of the city, of course.
Exactly, and cities are going through very, very, very big changes the last decades, let's say.
It's true. It's totally true.
It's I mean, also the way that we interact with social media and internet, but it's also, cities are becoming more pedestrian friendly. The notion of pollution, of cars, healthy cities. So it's a very exciting moment, I think, to be talking about cities and urbanity.
For your job, for your work, it's very kind time to try to find all the inspiration for your work from the urbanity, of course. And talking about your projects that I saw on your website, tell us a little bit about that. If there are some projects that are more significant for you, for your company?
Yeah, so basically at this moment we have several categories of projects. Let's say we have a lot of competition projects which we have not won, which are we just have the experience from working on them and have them as part of the portfolio. We have some competitions that we got awarded or the library that we are working on later phases. I could mention the Europan in 2017. We got a third place for a vision for the
Congratulations.
Thank you. that had to do with one of the empty neighborhoods of Amsterdam, Sluisburg. So basically, one part of the city which has been a military base. So they want to develop it from the beginning. And there we kind of worked with the notion of the productive city and how you can combine housing and offices and public space into a more kind of interconnected way. So how you can make a new city, let's say. We got a second prize for a terminal station in Creta. It's a place where I grew up in Greece. That was also very exciting to contribute into my home island, let's say. And then we also did some participations in exhibitions and competition.
Also in Italy, right?
Yeah, so as you may know, I studied in Reggio Calabria for 1 year, one academic year.
I remember that you told me during our call,
Yeah, so I do have some particular, let's say, place for Italy in my network and in my interest. And basically, for example, very recently we participated in the exhibition called Intocabili, the Untouchables, which was curated by our friends in Rome, Tari Architects. And basically they invited 12 young architecture offices from all over Europe to kind of imagine possible new ways for Rome to improve. Yeah. So basically in Italy and in remind you of Rome. So basically in Italy and in many European cities, you have these very historic cities like Rome, which have been.
We are full of it. It's only history.
Exactly. So that
the street is only history. So
exactly. So basically, this history it's amazing. It's a heritage. It's value, but at the same time, it's also kind of limiting the development of the city. So, for example, in Italy, you have cities like Milan that are innovating. They are all the time kind of reinterpreting their identity, let's say. They are kind of moving on in architecture, in industry, in other aspects. But that doesn't happen in Rome, of course, because you are bound by history. And so basically, we were open to kind of each one of us to kind of propose maybe a radical or maybe a different way in which that could be, in which you can further build or develop Rome into the next century, let's say. And that was very interesting to.
Yeah, and I saw that you with your company, with your team, worked on Piazza del Quirinale. That is a very particular square in our city. So here in Rome, it's a very important square. So
that was one of the most difficult, probably. Yeah.
I completely understand the difficulty.
Yeah, we
on a square like
we basically.
Tell me.
Sorry, yeah. So we basically, indeed, it was almost impossible to kind of intervene in that square. But one of the beautiful things is that there are the gardens on the inside of the palace, which you don't get to experience or to see, because on the ground, I think the issue is the ground floor. Once you understand that the level of the street, it's final. It has been designed and built many centuries ago. I think then we proposed to go higher in the air, let's say. So we made a proposal about what we call the rack of the future. So a very simple steel structure that would go above the palace and would be very airy and very, very porous. So basically light could still go through. And then you could create from this three-dimensional structure, you could see the gardens, but also you could go down in the gardens potentially. And of course that would be a very technological vision in which the modules would come by drones, and there would be no load on the street level to build that thing. But what I like about this is the opposite. The city is historic, but what we proposed has no historical value. What you have in the city.
Yeah, it's just for improve the living also in the city, of course.
Exactly. So what we would do is completely the opposite. If the heritage has value, what we did was very temporary and very light and very cheap, let's say. So basically, you would not compete with the city, but history, but kind of try to negotiate the space and work with it.
Yeah, completely understand. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Irgen, for this interview.
Thank you very much.
People can find also this project in Rome on your website. That is, you can say it.
Artisturbanity.com. With the same name, you can find us in Facebook and in Instagram.
Of course, yes. And so we invite our listeners to get to know also this project in Rome and the other project that Irgen with this team do on their company, that is Architect for Urbanity. They're based in Rotterdam. And so thank you very much, Irgen, for this interview. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a nice day, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, of course. And to our listeners, stay tuned for more interviews and stories.